Hey, welcome back to another video about the State of AI report. This is part 2, so if you haven't seen part 1, find it. It's on my channel. Okay, let's jump into it. As I told you, I'm overviewing the State of AI report, just released October 12th, 2023. It's super exciting. And in part 1, we overviewed research, okay? And now in part 2, the second part is industry. I may do a third, fourth, and fifth part on politics, safety, and predictions, but let me know if you want to watch it. Otherwise, I won't do it. Otherwise, I'll just keep it to myself. I don't know. I love this stuff. If you do too, then we can all benefit from this. Okay, let's jump into the industry. And I have linked actually the deck for this report in my YouTube video. So if you're interested in getting access and reading it for yourself, please do so. It's very long. That's why I'm doing this video. But yeah, it's super exciting. So yeah, do it. Okay, so here we go. Industry. Are you ready to jump in? Let's do it. First, when we talk about industry, we're gonna let me get on camera a little bit quick. No, this other way. There we go. Okay, this way. Okay, so when we talk about industry, we're gonna talk about GPUs. The reason we're gonna talk about GPUs is because with OpenAI and generally AI, the computing needed to create an LLM to first of all to analyze the data, to train them, to find the parameters needed, to train the model, and then to make the predictions. The amounts of GPU needed are crazy. And so I don't know if you remember, but it's something similar to what happened with the semiconductors. I think it was a year ago, but it's still going on, where there's a shortage of semiconductors. Well, this is related, but similar in some ways, where there's a shortage of GPUs. And NVIDIA is at the center of it. Just reaching at the Q2 of fiscal year 24, which is technically this year, they're reaching, because it goes 1 year in advance, don't worry about it, just trust me, there enters the $1 trillion market cap. That's crazy. Okay, NVIDIA, the most underrated stock of all tech, I would say. They're making bank, and I'll show you what's more. Apparently, this was really funny. NVIDIA's GPUs are selling faster than Coachella tickets. I love this one. And the demand is not stopping. So they're needing to produce even more, okay? So at this point, the question is compute full ballers? I love this one too. They were very funny. Okay, is compute the new oil in Gulf State? Apparently Gulf State are investing instead of investing. You know the thing that they say about Arab and Emirates, that they're investing into full ballers in order to make their image a little bit more pleasant for the public. Well, apparently they're switched their investments into compute and GPUs, related terms, right? And not the same thing, but related terms. So allegedly, this Abdullah University of Science and Technology has allegedly purchased over 3,000 H100s, a type of GPU, to build a supercomputer called Shaheen III. Of course, it had to be called kind of like a king, an Arab king, Shaheen III. That should be operational by end of 2023. I think it's really cool that we see the investments from other countries coming up. I mean, China is not gonna be, it's gonna be right behind in terms of this. We know Saudi Arabia has, and the Arabian countries have loads of money to invest. And so I'm excited to see this. Honestly, the more the merrier in this evolution. I know it's gonna be a little bit difficult for the smaller players to participate because there's so much money involved and so much big players. But at the same time, we need competitors, and it's a world game at this point. And yeah, I am excited about this. Okay, so here they show us, and I'm gonna open this up for you because I want you to see it. Okay, so here they're showing us which companies actually have A100 GPU clusters and growing. since last year. So if you see this, the top ones are Meta. And if you don't notice, Meta actually builds all of their own software. So, and hosts all of their own servers. So they're going straight to the source to buy the raw material to make their own secret sauce, okay? And I think that is very interesting about Meta, if they can make it work in something that is more interesting than just Facebook. Yes, and I am digging a little bit there, but like, I'm serious. Like, if they could have a really cool ChatGPT like idea that goes beyond the social, I think Meta could be getting a little bit more interesting than what it is, at least for me right now. Tesla, of course, is investing in GPUs. I don't know why. So if you do know why, let me know. Like, what do they have in mind there? I haven't been following Tesla so much lately. Me and Elon Musk are not getting along. But yeah, let me know. So, and then a few other companies. Leonardo is from the EU. XTX Markets is from the UK. Perlmutter, US. Stability AI. NVIDIA Selene. Jewels. Polaris. Polaris is a car company, correct? Hugging Face. So Hugging Face is interesting. Hugging Face is actually a Netherlands, French / US company. And if you do not know Hugging Face, you must get to know them. I'm gonna talk about Hugging Face in a little bit as well, because they are definitely like one of those companies to watch. They're gonna be very interesting. They have incredible brain abilities in terms of like the people and how they work. It's super interesting. So I would say Hugging Face is one to watch, based on what I know about them. Aleph Alpha, Contextual AI. So we see like there's a bunch of like, I feel like there's a bunch of companies that I don't know anything about, except for the obvious one. So yeah, new players coming into the market, I think. I don't know, you tell me. Do you know these companies? Have you invested in them? I don't know. I don't know who they are. Okay, so it's very early, but apparently Google, Inflection, Oracle, Tesla, Andromeda, a few other players have announced new H100 infrastructure for large-scale model training. So what that means is like the NVIDIA H100 clusters are selling. These companies are buying them. I don't know if they have that many options, to be honest, but it's going. And yeah, and everybody seems to be interested in what is happening. I think the most interesting thing about this though is the difference between private cloud and public cloud. There's no national HPC, which whatever, let's set that apart for a second because that's a shame. But like private versus public cloud, what do you think? Do you trust putting models into a public cloud? Should Google even be investing and Oracle be investing in public cloud at this point? I'm hearing so many companies that really want to keep their models mostly in-house. And then I wonder, like, how is that going to happen? Like, big players are buying these clusters. They're very expensive. Building your own cluster in-house costs minimum millions of dollars. Yeah, I'm just wondering where this is going to go in the end. All right, so and then NVIDIA chips are also used apparently 19 times more than any other chips. So there you go. They're also used for research and university. So while NVIDIA is keen, Cerebras ramps amongst the challenger club. So if you were wondering, okay, what other options do we have beyond NVIDIA? Here they give you a list. Cerebras apparently is, I don't know why I said Cerebras. Cerebras apparently is rising up. Do you see that like spike right there that goes from 2022 up to 2023? Yeah, that's them. And then GraphCore, Cambricon, Habana, and Sambanova. Okay, those are the few that they listed. I'm not an expert in the hardware space, so I go by what they say, but there's also a source there. So yeah, if you want to get more info about that, you can always check out the link. Hyperscalers scale their spending on AI as a percentage of total CapEx. So what does that mean? It means that literally companies are taking their CapEx, which is their capital expenditure, taking a percentage of that and saying, okay, this goes to AI. That's crazy, okay? I don't know what kind of like AI math that is, but that's like some intense investing in AI. I thought that was cool. Okay, so here's why I like this story. This is super interesting because, listen, as competitive as the chip market right now is, as the GPU market right now is, the US decided to put a restriction on the NVIDIA chips that are going to be exported to China. So again, this is like, I don't want to say the WW3 word, but like it is like informatica war, if there's such a thing. Okay, so basically the US is like, NVIDIA, yeah, that's great, but we need all these chips you're doing a great job with your chips. We needed all of the most powerful chips to stay in the US. Therefore, we're going to put an export ban on the ones that are most powerful. And yeah, you can feel free to produce very much less powerful chips for exporting purposes, which then will go to other countries, including China. I mean, if that's not a boss move, I don't know what is. But I mean, can China have their own chips? Like make their own chips? Like, I don't know, NVIDIA's killing it at this point, but maybe China could do something of their own. I mean, I'm sure they do, but like, please school me on this. Why is NVIDIA's chip so much better than maybe something that is made in China? Help me out. Okay, so this was a 2022 prediction, and this is what they predicted. They said, generative AI applications grow in popularity. Okay, so in 2022, the State of AI report came out and they said that in 2023, this was gonna happen, right? And well, they were right. More specifically, audio tools, which is really, really cool because they attract over 100,000 developers by September 2023. Companies like 11 Labs from the UK, Resemble AI from the US, and UI Wizard really are getting attention to create AI tools, especially around audio. Okay, another 2022 to 2023 prediction. Generative AI application growing popularity, but video is also rapidly advancing. So we know that Synthesia launched their AI first video creator in 2020. Like video creation with generative AI is still, imagine if image is like video is still like okay? And so I think like, I'm super excited to see more of this. At the end of the day, when all of the text, like high quality text training data for these models is gonna finish, like we're gonna be done training models with it by 2025. We're gonna be exhausted supposedly yet. We're gonna talk about it more later. Yeah, I mean, the other next thing that we're gonna start training on seriously, meaning like we're gonna be actually investing in producing content for training purposes, is gonna be images and videos. So image creators, videographers out there dealing with like figuring out a way in which like not only the big companies like Shutterstock get a piece of this deal, it would be cool. I think it would be important. So ChatGPT, we know, is one of the fastest growing internet products ever, apparently. I don't know. But it surpassed not Pokemon Go apparently, but it surpassed Netflix, it surpassed Facebook, not in terms of like how many users, but in terms of like the curve of the growth, like how fast it grows, right? It surpassed Twitter and Instagram. So yeah, like the growth of ChatGPT has been tremendous, as we all know. And is it now printing like real money? So what they talk about is like one day ChatGPT passes the $1 billion revenue base, and then the other day they reported like losses to the $500,000, and we're like, what is happening with this company, right? It's crazy. Okay, so now it kind of goes into talking about a few of the companies that have been feeling the heat from ChatGPT. So obviously one of them is in education, because like maybe there were companies that were specifically targeting like how do we augment education in the classroom or for students, etc. Now that ChatGPT has come along and most students and teachers also like are learning how to use this, any other tool that doesn't have the same amount of power is just discarded immediately. And so this talks about like basically that, and how few companies have failed because of this. And yeah, I mean, it's a disruptor, right? So some of these things are about to happen. Also, I mean, I said this a long time ago, but apparently, yeah, Stack Overflow web traffic has been on the decline. Now, I did talk about a few developers about this. I did talk with a few developers about this, and they seem to think that Stack Overflow still holds some values, but it's different than ChatGPT. So ChatGPT is definitely, so this is what they said, right? They said if you are more a little bit more senior developer, you know exactly what you're looking for, because you know the problem space, you know how to solve this, but you're simply like having like to figure out what to do, and you're giving ChatGPT instructions of what to do, and you just want ChatGPT to basically lay it out for you so that you don't have to write everything from scratch. It's great. ChatGPT is great. But if you're a junior developer trying to create knowledge and you don't know how to solve a problem, ChatGPT is not the way to go. You want to go to Stack Overflow because there's going to be a lot of more senior help. There's going to be like also a discussion about the idea. It's not just going to be like, no, here's an answer. It's going to be like, what are you trying to do? Is this the correct way to thinking about it? Look, there's this other thing that you can think of. And that's mostly how human brain works, right? And ChatGPT cannot do that yet. And so really get into the like, why you're doing what you're doing and finding better ways of doing it where you're in that learning mode. Apparently, according to the group of people that I've interviewed, ChatGPT is not the best. Again, ChatGPT is mostly used for here's what I want to do and I know exactly what I want to do. Please write it all out for me so I don't have to. And so that's like dumb task, get it done, and this is it. So it's interesting, at least, right? And so, yeah, I'm looking forward to see if Stack Overflow is ever gonna choose to double down on their superpower, or if they're gonna try to compete with ChatGPT. We'll see. All right, so GitHub Copilot is also one of those that has decided to add a coding assistant as soon as some of this stuff came out. Good for them, by the way. Like, coding assistants are gonna be the future of software development. So like, I think they nailed it. And it looks like they have over 8 million installs. If they keep that rate, they're not going to go anywhere. It's going to be amazing. Okay, ChatGPT drives productivity in repetitive, boring writing? Yes, 100%. It takes 40% less time to do anything that is repetitive, whether it's writing code, writing a blog, writing a LinkedIn post, or writing YouTube caption, whatever that is, they're killing it. And that's why we love them. Certain less obvious GenAI use cases have also gained significant traction. Okay, so here's where it gets interesting of how humans weirdly interact with AI. Not weirdly, but like maybe less mainstream, or like, I don't know, however you want to call it. Something, I mean, I don't know, in different ways other than what everybody hears about in the news. So A16Z, which is a venture capital firm, backed Character AI, and Character AI basically gained reported 200 million monthly visits to their site ahead of launching the app. And Character AI is basically the way you can talk to a companion in AI. And I've said this before in my video. I'm like, I don't know if that's for me. I haven't tried it yet, but maybe I will. I don't know. Let me know if I should try Character AI. I may. Let me know if you want me to record it, and maybe I can show you my experience. But either way, yeah, like, it's weird. They treat him like a therapist or something, or like a friend. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Like, humans and their very interesting quirks. So yeah, we'll see what happens with that one too. I am sure, like, just because it's not for me doesn't mean that it's not good, right? So like, I'm open to trying it out, and like, if people like it, that's cool. Okay, text to image models. Competition intensifies and integrations abound. Everybody's doing text to image right now. Canva is doing text to image. OpenAI is doing text to image. Midjourney is doing text to image. Text to image is also coming to like coding, no code apps things. Like, everything now has some type of like generative AI, very basic component to it, and I'm here for it. But GenAI's wow effect is so far insufficient for users to stick around. So apparently the retention stats on GenAI are actually lower than the media retention of like other social media companies such as YouTube, Intercom, TikTok, or WhatsApp. So if we see here, let's go full screen for a second. Let's do this. Look at this. So 1 month retention, YouTube 85%, Instagram 73%, TikTok, after that Snapchat, WhatsApp, blah blah blah. Yeah. And then in AI companies, 56%. So like even on the Roblox. Okay, my daughter, by the way, loves playing Roblox, and she has no idea what ChatGPT is. So I don't know if that makes sense, but that may tell you something. And in terms of monthly active users, WhatsApp is one of the highest in the market, and ChatGPT 14%. Like 14% of all of the users who have signed up are monthly active. And it's weird because they charge a monthly membership. I'm just saying, like, why are you not using ChatGPT more? What can they do in order to make it more accessible? Well, recently now they've deployed vision and audio. So I'm excited to see if that changes a little bit. But yeah, like people are not using it that much, huh? Okay, let me get back on camera. I'm always switching over. All right, let's see. What else do we have? Okay, this is a 2022 predictions for 2023. A major user-generated content site negotiates a commercial settlement with the startup producing AI model, OpenAI, for training on their corpus. So what's happening? Like I told you, text is getting exhausted for training the models. So what they're doing is OpenAI is going around and making this deals with other companies like Shutterstock, you know, to train their model on images. They even had a deal with this other company, Associated Press. Associated Press has a licensing agreement in order to use their data. And so if you have data and you could potentially package it to sell it, that's a thing. That's a thing right now, because that's going to give any LLM big data model an advantage. So the US court sets precedent for generated content being unsuitable for copyright protection, but then another unfair use. And basically what they said is that human, what did they call it? Human participation. No, human authorship, which is different, I guess. Human authorship is needed for copyright protection. And that's part of why NFT were never copyrightable, by the way. But maybe AI generated assets could be NFT'd, and that's one way of kind of quote unquote protecting them. I don't know, but it's going to be more challenging for providers, because people are going to try to copyright their AI generated content. I don't know, I'm not into it, but so the more cases going to court, we'll see what happens. OpenAI and Meta are facing lawsuits coming from ChatGPT. The UK has text and data mining exception on copyright law. Microsoft has moved to reassure users that Copilot tools are commercial will assume legal risk in case of any leakage and copyright claims. So there's a lot going on. There's a lot going on that it's coming to the courts. Courts need to be ready. The law needs to be ready. Okay, so this is cool. I've always liked to mention this for anybody that does not know. Most of the training that it actually means something for a model is done by humans, believe it or not. So instruction fine-tuning and reinforcement learning, human feedback are the default modes to fine-tune and align language models. At the end of the day, we still have not figured out how the machine can give itself feedback in a way that makes sense like human thing. And there's many reasons for that. One of them being abstractions, level of abstractions. Like if I can just explain in many very simple terms, is like the way you describe something, like this gray cup, to a machine is not the way you would describe it to a human. If I played a game of like 30 seconds and I had to figure out how to describe this in 30 seconds, I would say something that you drink in every morning coffee. And if you just said that to a machine without any previous knowledge about anything else, they would have no idea what to do with that. But in a human's mind, you can already kind of like, if it just said those few words, you can already imagine that it's a thing that holds liquid because you're drinking, and it holds coffee and therefore is used in the morning, and therefore you can make some assumptions about what it is. It may not come out as being the same word. It could be a cup, it could be a taza, it could be like whatever, however people call it, maybe like just a thing like a basin or something. But at the end of the day, we would all know what we would be talking about, and a computer wouldn't. And so ergo, long story short, reinforcement learning, human feedback, it's still immensely critical in the training of large language model. And yes, ChatGPT has used reinforcement learning in order to be so good at what it does. So here's why I like Hugging Face so much and their premise about what they're doing with AI is because fundamentally they are in the business of keeping AI open source thus far. They did get a new round of investment, so we'll see what happens after that because investors are going to expect some type of return, and I don't know what kind, but we'll see. But yes, they have many models available currently that anyone could use and could be trained on, whether it's like cloud compute or maybe very powerful at-home computer. So they have made them so that people can actually use them and not training them, like fine-tuning them, right? But yeah, they're doing really cool things, and in the face of everybody else wanting to monetize and industrialize and commercialize AI, they are keeping it thus far open source, and that's the reason why I think they're a company to watch, because also how they have built open source, which they I was just at a talk where one of the founders came to speak about how they did their business model. It's like they collected people from all over the world to work on these models, and it was like one of the coolest things I've ever heard. So go look for Hugging Face, go follow them and give them some love. Okay, so obviously we know that GenAI is, and AI in general, is disrupting many industries, including pharma. mRNA vaccine leader BioNTech acquired an AI company instantly for $500 million. They're really thinking about how to use this for creating cures, remedies, medicine, yeah, and also like, most importantly, I think exploring DNA, because we have not done that very well so far. DeepMind to Google DeepMind, back to DeepMind, and now to Google DeepMind V2. Do you remember this? DeepMind was announced in 2010, Google DeepMind was announced in 2014. In 2015, DeepMind was back on its own, and now 2023, announcing Google DeepMind again. Yeah, it's been a journey, I guess. And I think this proves to me that like AI has been around for a long time. It was a matter of time. It was a matter of like the right moment at the right time of when things were going to click for people. Okay, this next slide, I just wanted to touch on it because we cannot forget about how important is speech recognition. As we continue to evolve as a world citizen human race, and maybe even multi-planetarian race, understanding speech patterns, languages, etc. is going to be more and more relevant for us human beings. Nowadays, I can live in a completely different country, not know the language, and still able to live and survive and not feel outcasted. 50 years ago, that was not the case. I would have had a really rough time. And by the way, speech recognition is hard because I have an accent and they can rarely understand me. So, and how many people more will continue to have accents or be multilingual, right? I speak 3.5 languages, but I know people who speak 7, 8, 9 languages. They could have all an accent, all of those languages, right? And the more we intertwine, we merge, and we connect with each other in the world, and we take down boundaries, this is going to be more interesting. Even like the fact that like you could be typing in, Spanish, and I could be replying in English, but then we sit it in our native language, right? Like all that could happen. I could be speaking on the phone in English, you could be speaking on the phone in Spanish, but we hear it in our own language. How cool would that be? You know what I mean? Like there's so many opportunities with this. I actually like that idea. Don't steal it. Okay, so apparently we knew this. Attention is all we need in order to raise billions for the AI startup. Now, please tell me the trick, because I have an AI startup, but I have not raised billions yet. So I would love to know who's giving billions away for an AI startup. But yeah, so apparently there's this thing in Silicon Valley called the PayPal Mafia. And the PayPal Mafia, long story short, because whatever, is a group of guys who went to PayPal, made so much money for investors, they call it PayPal Mafia, and then they went in to start their own company or become founder and investors in other companies, and they made so much money for investors on that, and so they call it the PayPal Mafia, because wherever they go, they had connection, they were successful, most of them, not all of them, and somehow they became like a little mafia where they controlled Silicon Valley, whatever. That's the what do you call it? The legend of the PayPal Mafia, I guess, in very loose form. Let me know if you know anything else about it. I would love to know more, I think. Anyhow, today we're talking about the Transformers Mafia because they've collectively raised billions of 10 yeah, like over $12 billion for AI. And so, like, imagine how cool. Like, I don't know. Well, Transformers Mafia. There you go. A new mafia. I need to scooch over a little bit, right? Okay, so autonomous driving meets generative AI. I could see this coming from miles away. Autonomous driving was kind of stuck in terms of like their progress in being more accurate with what they saw. Vision is a big part of this. I in the last video, in the video part 1, I spoke about like generative AI and vision. Remember that? Yeah. So this is part of that, because as generative AI becomes increasingly better at using vision as part of their input in order to understand what's going on, it's going to make autonomous driving much better. Nobody's going to need to drive anymore. Nobody's going to know what a license is in 20 years, basically. Autonomous rides are now commercial in California. Great. If you live in California, maybe this is for you, so you don't have to be stuck in traffic. I don't live in California and probably never will, but yeah, maybe I'll go visit and I'll get on one. GenAI is a new thing. AI investment are stable versus 2022 and powered by generative AI. So, if we see that, like, let's see, of all of the worldwide investment in startups and scale-ups using AI versus generative AI, let's see, we have about 49 billion overall in 2023, and most of that is without generative AI, and a big chunk of that is with Gen AI. I can show you this a little bit bigger so you can get a sense of what's going on here. You see this? And like, we had a huge spike in investment in 2021, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that was the Microsoft and OpenAI deal, maybe? Tell me what else was in this. I don't think we have seen a deal that big. What else was it? What else happened in 2021? Remind me, I forget. Yeah, and then we see like basically a lot of it are between the 100 and 250 million. There's apparently it's gonna get to apparently 57 billion projected, but it's a 49 right now. And yeah, there's a lot of very little that is pre-seed, obviously. I mean, that's where I'm at. I'm not getting billions, so hint hint. Okay, trillions of value, the combined enterprise value of private and public companies using AI. Wow, like the valuation of all combined enterprise value of private and public companies using generative AI is notably 50% of the S&P 500 gains in 2023, and driven by the Magnificent Seven. Apparently, FANG is not no longer a thing, but it's the Magnificent Seven. Apple, Microsoft, NVIDIA. I don't know what they put Apple first. We haven't even spoken about Apple in this context. Yeah, but whatever. Apple, Microsoft, NVIDIA, Alphabet, which is Google, Meta, Tesla, and Amazon are key drivers of AI acceleration, worth around 7 trillion. We're back to 2021 levels. We had a dip in 2022, but the in the private sector, there's about 2 trillion still. Okay. USAI company absorbed 70% of global private capital in 2023 from 55% in 2022. So guess what? US is getting more investments. If you are an AI generative AI company, I suggest you create a branch in the US for now. Well, honestly, I would say this. It's not that they're not invested in Europe, for example, is that the size of the investment are much, much smaller. And And that may pose higher risk for a generative AI company that needs to spend a lot of money in order to make something successful. I mean, just look at OpenAI, for example, right? Like if they got like very small 100K investments here and there, which maybe was the case in the beginning, I don't know. But honestly, like, you need some power behind your company in order to make this AI thing work. It is costly. It is competitive. Everybody wants in. So like it makes sense that people may go for like higher checks, and higher checks could be written because then even like if you said, oh, I'm going to give you a small check as part of like a larger sum, there's still more hassle and more risk associated with that. I hope I'm making myself clear. The US continues to lead by number of AI unicorns, followed by China and the UK. I mean, US is blowing it out of the water, 5.9 trillion cumulative enterprise value. China is at 1.3 trillion, UK, Israel. I love that Israel is in the running. That's a superpower in terms of tech. Like, I think we know this, right? Germany, Canada, Switzerland, Singapore, India, and France. I think, who would I want to see in this list? I don't know, like, when we talk about unicorns, yeah, I would want to see like France or Eastern Europe come up. I don't know why. I've always known France had really, really amazing developers. In terms of Eastern Europe, I feel like there's a lot of, I don't know, guys, like, what do you think about Eastern Europe coming up on the AI unicorns? I feel like there's some potential there. I don't know. This is gut feeling. This is not scientific, by the way. I'm just like looking at this number and be like, oh, who would I want to see this here be more competitive? China, of course, is right up there. And actually it may surprise because they do this thing where they're like quiet, and then they blow out of the water in terms of like being really good. So like I'm interested to see what happens with that. Okay, so enterprise software, fintech, and healthcare are the most invested AI categories globally. This one I kept just for you. It is super not interesting to me, but I said maybe my audience is interested which AI categories are more interested globally. Enterprise software, fintech, and healthcare. Enterprise software is always one of the most lucrative ways to monetize. Love it and hate it, okay? That's the thing. Fintech, where there's money, when you're trading money, there's money to be made. And then healthcare. Everybody needs healthcare. This is not a surprise, but maybe you wanted to get the reassurance. Although IPOs right up in 23, M&A market continues to stay strong. The reality is governments are looking at mergers and acquisitions with scrutiny right now because of this hot AI market. They're not just letting everybody merge and acquire, although Microsoft first has been very successful lately. But yeah, like, these are things to watch out for. If you have a startup, maybe this is for you because there is very much interest here. 24% of all corporate VC investments went to AI companies in 2023. Yeah, not surprised there. And then we see a massive acceleration in generative AI funding, of course. So in those Gen AI round, 18 billion invested in 2023 alone. Mega rounds, foundation and frontier model companies selling equity, dollars to purchase cloud computing capacity to train large sales system, all NVIDIA money. Okay. A handful of companies were at the center of some of the highest profile AI fundraisers. Best round, OpenAI, Anthropic. What is Anthropic, you guys? You know, I read this slides before, but I did not want to research because I would love for you to tell me and interact with me and tell me what do you think these companies do and if you like them. Inflection, Cohere, Hugging Face, you know, love Hugging Face, and Runway. Yeah, I'm excited. I mean, look at NVIDIA. It's all over this map. Microsoft, top 3. AWS and Anthropic apparently partnering up, one big bet. Salesforce is entering this game. Google, of course, Intel and IBM. Are these? Yeah, they're all US companies. Is Intel US? I think, yeah, all US companies. I don't know what to tell you. This is crazy. Generative AI companies rate 33% of larger seed and 130% larger as than all startups in 2023. Damn, killing it. All right, Series A, 16 million average, and 7 million for all. And then Series Seed, 4 million average, 3 million for all. Okay, so listen up. I want to do a part 3. but it takes quite a bit of time to do this. So please let me know if you like this video, subscribe, follow, let me know if you liked it. Let me know if you want to see more. I'll see you next time. Bye.